Despite what a lot of people are saying, I think the Japan vs Nigeria match is already heading down the perfect route. Japan is up 2-0 thanks to absolute bangers from mikage and Bachira. Meanwhile, Team Nigeria, let's just pray these men can actually grow from that flashback boost. What's good, everyone? I hope you're all having an amazing day. My name is Animasu, and after waiting for the leaks, then being told they won't drop, then being told the leakers got arrested, the BLUELOCK chapter 317 leaks are finally here. If you enjoyed today's breakdown and want to stay locked in on everything BLUELOCK, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. And if you want to chat with me or other fans about the leaks, the manga, or just hang out, the community Discord is linked down below. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and let's dive into the leaks. We open the chapter with some intro text which says, Japan dominates the first half. A whirlpool of frenzy envelops the battlefield. We see the Japanese audience roaring as the commentators hype up how crazy this game already is. And yeah, just imagine watching a match like this in real life. The clock shows 35 minutes into the first half, which honestly throws me off because I thought Bachira scored in like 3 minutes and then Ryo's goal happened not long after. I figured we were maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes in, but I guess the pacing is moving faster than I thought, or Isagi has some secret time magic within his metavision. Either way, the announcers scream out that the young Japanese representatives lead with a 2-goal advantage over Team Nigeria. With only 10 minutes left in the first half, is it time for Nigeria's counterattack, or will Japan overpower them once more? Right off kickoff, Onazi sprints straight towards Isagi while passing to his right, and once again, Kuso takes up the role of narrator, talking about Japan's current strength. I really am loving how Nigeria is sort of taking on the role of protagonist in these chapters, as we see a lot of the match so far from their perspective, and also, Kuso takes on the role of narration a lot like Isagi normally does. Anyways, with an overhead view of the pitch, Kuso explains that the source of Japan's dominance is the 3 players down the central line. Isagi Yoichi leading the offense, Tabito Karasu holding the midfield, and Oliver Aiku running the defense. As he talks, the panels quickly flash back to each of their big moments that shifted the game so far, showing just how sharp their IQ and execution have been. Even though Karasu is pressing him hard, Kuso manages to send out a pass that cuts through the field, spiraling through the air towards Onazi. Ryo is not close enough to react, and as the ball flies, Kuso glares at Isagi and says they have to destroy his adaptability or work around it. Otherwise, Nigeria is done for. I mean, all my man really did here is drop back and help the defense, but I guess it got Kuso shook up enough to worry. Onazi finally receives the ball cleanly, and as he flicks it into the air, Chigure and Bachira are already sprinting behind him. This sends us into a flashback where a younger Team Nigeria asks if Onazi has ever played football before. He admits, to my surprise, that he has never touched a ball in his life, which shocks them too as they immediately start calling him a genius. After all, he literally just ran onto the pitch in an emotional outburst to cook all of them, and then leap off some dude's face for an insane volley. Personally, I would have just reversed that man on some Baki type of timing, but hey, that's besides the point. With Chigure of course closing in on Onazi, he sends a pass to his right towards Bello, and as he does, we cut between Bello in the past and present, remembering how they played together as kids and pushed each other forward. Just as the ball reaches him, Yohiori collides with Bello's side, testing him as Oboa also appears in the frame from past to present, showing their familial bonding connection. The flashback continues with the kids talking about wanting to become millionaires so they can buy anything, eat anything, and live wherever they want. Onazi laughs and says that becoming a pro athlete isn't that simple, but they just brush it off, saying it doesn't matter because they have him, their genius who can carry them. I mean, damn, since a young age, Team Nigeria have really just been Onazi merchants. Kuso then smiles at Onazi, calling him their ray of hope. He's fully glazing this man on some Satoru Gojo type of timing because he tells him he's the chosen one, and this is where we see Onazi say for the first time, I am here. It's really interesting to see how they were the ones who put that responsibility on him at that young age, and it became his identity we see today. As clippings show Nigeria winning matches 6-0 and the media praising them, Onazi repeats that phrase again, fully embracing his role. We then see Nigeria celebrating their U20 Africa Cup win with Onazi screaming out in pure happiness. Cutting back to the present, the referee announces 1 minute of additional time, which once again, damn, how are we already this far into the match? Kuso winds up for another pass, saying that Onazi's true potential and weapon is what can turn this game around. Thinking back on Onazi's huge bunny-like leaps to pick up their slack, Kuso sends the ball his way with an idea in mind. Karasu and Ryu both fail to cut it off as Onazi sprints into the box, and as he runs ahead, Kuso declares that this is why Onazi is their striker. With the ball approaching, Kuso continues on to say that being able to shoot mid-air means Onazi's shooting range is more than twice that of a normal person. As the pass quickly approaches Onazi, he leaps into the air as Isagi sprints in at his side and Oliver Aiku readies himself at his front. A crosshair lines up as Onazi tries to ready his shot, and even with 2 Metavision users locking him down, Onazi tells them that he will beat them. Despite Onazi trying to aura farm and have confidence, GAGAMARU readies himself as Japan's final wall, egotistically telling Onazi to bring it on as we flash back to his letter from Ego. With a baseball and glove held in his hand, he reads Ego's words which say, GAGAMARU, you're still just fighting by relying on prayer. Build the body of a goalkeeper and experience the special knock training. We then see GAGAMARU dual-wielding baseball catcher gloves, but he's not actually playing typical baseball like some of us expected, and that's pretty obvious now considering he looks straight out of Jackass. He is instead standing in front of a goal while a blue lock machine pitches baseballs sporadically at him, and he's shocked that they're using literal hard baseballs instead of the balls they normally use. They're trying to give my man a concussion out there. GAGAMARU leaps through the air to make saves on the randomly spinning baseballs, and Ego's notes continue on to explain. Since the ball is faster and smaller than a soccer ball, his reaction time will improve from the training exponentially. As we see more and more pitches being thrown at GAGAMARU to snatch like Randy Moss, he says that it feels like his coordination between his eyes and body have become 1.5 times faster already. Instead of being in his head and relying on luck, he needs to let his body remember all of the motions and move off logical instinct. He even nabs a perfect top left pitch, which is absolutely insane. If he can do that on the baseball, then blocking a soccer ball is just light work for him. Cutting back to the present, Onazi fires off a shot, leaping over Isagi's head towards the right of the goal. With GAGAMARU shifted already, Kuso screams out for their light of hope to score the opener for them and finally put a point on the board. Honestly, Onazi could have Goomba stomped Isagi with how high he leaped to make that volley, but sadly for him, GAGAMARU knows what a real flashback buff looks like. If only Kashimo could have learned. As the shot passes by both Aiku and Isagi, who stepped in to try to prevent it, GAGAMARU begins to move into position while watching it closely. He notes that the trajectory rises while escaping, but says his body is already moving on its own towards it. Compared to the baseball, it's slower, but a shot like this he knows he won't be able to catch directly. Despite these thoughts, GAGAMARU launches himself through the air and swats it clean away from the top corner, carrying Japan into halftime without conceding once. This man is going for a clean sheet this match. He proudly dubs himself Japan's guardian god, and I mean, after a save like that, you have to give it to him, even if they're up. As the whistle is blown, Isagi smirks as his teammate has once again clutched up, while Onazi just stares in shock and sadness. This man's over here like, please Isagi, we need this. Me and my family, we kinda need the money from this win. It's really wicked that Isagi is out here bullying orphans, but it is what it is. As the first half officially ends, the Japanese crowd goes wild, and GAGAMARU gives a thumbs up to the fans, telling them to leave it all to him. Unfortunately for Onazi, once again, we already have an I'll be there merchant in the series, and it's this goat right here, King GAGAMARU. With the score being 2-0 at the end of the half, the outro text closes out by saying, "The Iron Wall, GAGAMARU is here. With Japan in the lead, it's on to halftime." With it being confirmed that we won't have a break this week, the Blue Lock Chapter 318 officials will be dropping on September 16th with the title, I Want to Win. I assume this will be from the perspective of Nigeria in the locker room as they look back on what went wrong in the first half and figure out what they need to change to finally put a point on the board. It could also just be from the perspective of Team Japan too, as the Blue Lockers are absolutely egoist and will sit in the locker room talking about some, no, I need to score, no, let me score. Like, come on y'all. I'm not gonna lie though, that shot from Onazi was pretty clean, so credit where credit is due. That is gonna wrap up today's video though, so make sure to drop your theories down below and click that subscribe button as well. If you want to stay updated with all things Blue Lock and interact with me and the rest of the community, feel free to also check out my community Discord link down below. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow for the 317 officials, and remember, King GAGAMARU is the only competent goalkeeper in the entire series. Do not let anyone tell you different. Fukakugen does not exist.